In the heart of a futuristic city, the sky poured down heavy droplets that danced off the streets. Neon lights flickered in the dim twilight, painting everything in bright shades of blue, pink, and green. Towering buildings loomed overhead, their glassy facades reflecting the colors like a kaleidoscope. However, amidst this vibrant backdrop, a young alien mother and her small child stood alone, soaking wet and lost. The mother had soft green skin that glistened in the rain. Her large, expressive eyes were filled with concern. She clutched her child close. The child, no more than 5 years old, had tiny tentacles sprouting from their head, giving them a curious appearance. Their wide eyes looked up at their mother, searching for comfort in the chaos around them. "Mommy, where are we?" the child asked in a small, trembling voice. The mother knelt down, wiping the rain off her child's face with gentle hands. She whispered softly, "We will find help, little one. We just need to keep going." Her heart ached as she searched for a friendly face in the vast, unfamiliar city. They wandered the empty street, the sound of the rain echoing around them. The city was oddly quiet, as if the rain had swallowed the usual noise of bustling citizens. She could see flickering signs promising safety and warmth, but they felt so far away. Nearby, a lonely figure stood watching the mother and child. It was a human man, tall and sturdy, with kind eyes that seemed to radiate warmth even in the gray surroundings. His name was Ethan, and he felt a tug on his heart at the sight of the lost aliens. He had always read about beings from other worlds, but seeing them here in their moment of despair stirred something deep within him. Ethan stepped closer, the wet pavement squishing under his boots. "Hello there," he called out softly, trying not to scare them. The alien mother looked up, a mix of suspicion and hope washed over her. "Are you here to help us?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Of course," Ethan replied, opening his arms as if to invite them in. "I can help you find shelter. You must be cold and frightened." The mother glanced down at her child, who was still shivering slightly. The warmth in Ethan's voice offered a sliver of comfort. "We are lost," she admitted, her voice a mere whisper, "we don't know where we are." Ethan nodded empathetically. "You are in Neodara. It's a big, bustling city. But I promise, I can help you." Reluctantly, the mother took a step forward, still holding her child tightly. "My name is Zara," she said softly, her large eyes searching Ethan's face for honesty. "I'm Ethan." "It's nice to meet you, Zara." He smiled reassuringly. "Let's get you both out of this rain." Without waiting for a reply, he started walking, motioning for them to follow. Despite her apprehension, Zara found herself following his lead. They walked through the rain-soaked streets, the warm neon colors shining brighter as they moved closer. Zara's mind raced with thoughts. Would this man truly help them? What if he meant them harm? But she reminded herself of the fear in her child's eyes, and she chose to trust. As they walked, Ethan pointed out different places. "That's a cafe over there. They serve the best hot drinks that you will ever taste," he said, trying to lighten the mood. Zara glanced at the cafe, its warm glow beckoning them like a lighthouse in a storm. "Do you think we could have something warm?" asked the little one, peeking shyly from behind Zara's skirt. "Definitely. A warm drink sounds perfect," Ethan replied, lifting the child's spirits. Zara smiled slightly, feeling a flicker of hope. They reached the cafe, the door chiming as they entered. The warm air embraced them, and Zara noticed the soft chatter of patrons inside, a stark contrast to the loneliness outside. Ethan led them to a small table by the window and ordered hot drinks for all of them. The barista looked curiously at the aliens but quickly returned to preparing their orders. While they waited, Zara felt the tension in her shoulders begin to ease. "Thank you for helping us," she said to Ethan. "We just arrived on your planet. We didn't mean to come here unannounced." Ethan chuckled lightly. It's quite alright. We're not accustomed to visitors from other worlds. It's a special day for us, having you here. The child giggled at the notion, snuggling closer to Zara. When their drinks arrived, the warmth almost made Zara forget the chill of the rain. As she sipped her beverage, she watched her child's eyes widen with excitement. It's so sweet and warm, Mommy. Just like a hug. The child exclaimed. See? I told you it would be good, Ethan said with a bright smile. They shared small talk, creating a bond that blossomed in the warmth of their surroundings. As they enjoyed their drinks, Zara felt a wave of gratitude toward Ethan. I don't know how we would have made it without you. We were so scared. Ethan nodded, understanding the fear they had faced. You are safe now. This city can be overwhelming, but it can also be a place of kindness and community. Suddenly, the lights outside flickered as thunder rumbled in the distance. Zara's eyes widened, and she clutched her child close. Ethan reached out, laying a comforting hand on her arm. Don't worry. Storms can be loud, but they pass. You have a friend now. Zara looked at him, her heart swelling with appreciation. Thank you, Ethan. You have given us hope, even in this dark city. As the rain continued to fall outside, the cafe became a haven. The three of them shared laughter and stories, their fears slowly melting away. They discovered common dreams and aspirations, weaving a connection across the boundaries of their worlds. In that moment, under the neon lights and amidst the storm, Zara realized that no matter where they were, they could find kindness. And sometimes, when lost, reaching out for a warm hand could turn despair into hope. Together, in the heart of the futuristic city, they felt a sense of belonging, proving that compassion could bridge worlds and that even in the darkest corners of life, there is always light. The rain hammered down on Xylia and her child, Ki. Xylia's skin, the color of spring leaves, glistened in the downpour. Ki, small and clutching a tattered stuffed creature, whimpered, his own skin a paler, almost luminous green. They stood huddled beneath a flickering neon sign advertising Galactic Grub, the light painting their faces in an eerie glow. The city of Xylos hummed around them, a cacophony of flying vehicles and distant sirens, a stark contrast to their quiet despair. Towering skyscrapers pierced the rain-soaked sky, their surfaces a kaleidoscope of vibrant, yet somehow cold, neon colors. Xylia's large, dark eyes scanned the bustling street, searching for a familiar face, a helping hand. They had been separated from their group during a sudden power surge that had thrown the city into chaos. Now, lost and alone, she felt a cold dread grip her heart. Ki's soft sobs tugged at her already frayed emotions. She clutched him tighter, whispering soothing words in their native tongue, a melody of clicks and whistles lost in the city's roar. Across the street, beneath the awning of a noodle bar, stood Illyra. Illyra was human, her skin pale against the backdrop of the alien city. She was a xenoanthropologist, studying the cultural nuances of Xylos' diverse population. Tonight, however, she wasn't observing, she was witnessing something far more personal. She had seen Xylia and Ki from her window, their vulnerability radiating through the rain-lashed night. Illyra knew the dangers of Xylos' underbelly. Lost and alone, they were prey. The compassionate impulse, stronger than her scientific detachment, pulled her towards them. Illyra hesitated for only a moment, then stepped out into the downpour. The rain plastered her dark hair to her face, but she didn't flinch. She walked towards them, her pace slow and deliberate, projecting calmness and safety. As Illyra drew nearer, Xylia's eyes widened slightly. Fear warred with hope on her face. Ki stopped crying, his large, curious eyes fixated on the approaching human. Illyra offered a hesitant smile, a small gesture of comfort in the face of their overwhelming distress. Reaching them, Illyra gently knelt, her movements slow and measured to avoid startling them. She spoke slowly, her voice soft and reassuring. Are you, all right? she asked, carefully choosing her words, aware of the language barrier. She extended her hand, palm up, a universal symbol of peace. Xylia stared at Illyra's hand, her eyes darting between it and Illyra's face, uncertainty etched upon her features. The fear in her eyes was palpable. After a long moment of hesitation, she tentatively reached out and gently touched Illyra's hand, her touch light as a butterfly's wing. It was a silent exchange of understanding, a moment of connection that transcended language. Illyra felt a surge of empathy, a profound understanding of the alien mother's fear and desperation. She understood the vulnerability of being adrift in a city that was both breathtaking and terrifyingly impersonal. Illyra gently took Xylia's hand, her grip firm but gentle. She looked at Ki, offering a small, encouraging smile. Ki responded with a hesitant, almost shy, smile, his fear visibly diminishing. Illyra then produced a small, waterproof communicator from her pocket. She expertly activated the Universal Translator, a small device capable of interpreting most common galactic languages. She spoke again, this time her words transformed into Xylia's native tongue. "My name is Illyra," she said. "I will help you." Xylia, relieved, responded in her own language, the translator converting her words into human speech for Illyra. She explained their situation, her voice trembling with exhaustion and fear. Illyra listened patiently, her face reflecting genuine concern. She learned that Xylia and Ki were tourists, stranded far from their designated safe zone. Their communication device had been damaged in the power surge, rendering them unable to contact their group. Illyra helped Xylia and Ki to their feet. The rain continued its relentless assault, but it seemed less intense now, the weight of their despair somehow lessened. She took them to the noodle bar, shielding them from the worst of the downpour with her own body. Inside the warm glow of the noodle bar, surrounded by the aroma of steaming broth, Xylia and Ki began to relax. Illyra ordered them a warm meal, their small bodies visibly relaxing as they devoured the unfamiliar yet comforting food. Illyra, in turn, ordered herself a hot drink, feeling a warmth that spread beyond her stomach. As they ate, Illyra used her communicator to contact the city's central authority, reporting the lost aliens. She knew the authorities would be able to reunite Xylia and Ki with their group. Later that evening, under a sky that had begun to clear, a vehicle arrived. The relief on Xylia's face was immense as she embraced the waiting members of her group. Ki waved goodbye to Illyra, clutching his stuffed creature tightly. Illyra watched them go, a sense of quiet satisfaction filling her. She had done something more than her work required of her. She had offered a helping hand, a beacon of hope in the rain-swept darkness of a futuristic city. The cold neon lights of Xylos still shone brightly, but now, Illyra saw a softer glow, a warm light of human connection that pierced the night. In the heart of Neon City, where the bright lights fought against the ever-looming darkness, rain poured down in heavy sheets. Each drop glimmered under the colorful lights that decorated the tall buildings. But tonight, the neon glow felt cold rather than warm. It was a typical night for the city, yet not for everyone. In a narrow, rain-soaked street, a young alien mother stood with her small child. Her skin was a soft shade of green, like fresh leaves in spring. She had large, gentle eyes that seemed to hold the weight of the universe. The little boy next to her, with blue-tinted skin and round cheeks, hugged his mother tightly. They both looked lost and abandoned, standing still as the rain soaked through their clothes. The mother's name was Illyra, and her son's name was Kito. They had arrived on Earth only yesterday, fleeing from a planet that was no longer safe for them. Illyra had heard stories about this world, filled with wonders and dreams, but right now, all she felt was fear. The sounds of the city, the honking cars, and the chatter of the people surrounded them, but they felt isolated, like ghosts drifting in the night. Kito shivered, looking up at his mother with wide eyes. "Mommy, I'm cold," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the rush of rain. Illyra knelt down, pulling him close. I know, my sweet Kito. We'll find a shelter soon. Just stay close to me. She stroked his hair, trying to soothe her own worries with the warmth of her touch. As they stood under a rusty awning, the city lights flickered above them, casting shadows on the wet pavement. Illyra wished she could make Kito's world brighter, but all she felt was the weight of despair. She wondered if they would find anyone to help them. And just as the last glimmers of hope began to fade, a figure appeared in the distance. A woman, her hair illuminated by a neon pink glow, was walking toward them. She had an aura of kindness, and Kito perked up at the sight of her. The woman was tall, wearing a long coat that shimmered with hints of blue and purple. She approached with caution, her own heart aching at the sight of the small family. "Hello there," she said softly, kneeling before them. "I'm Zara. Are you okay? Do you need help?" Her voice was gentle, the kind that could break through the thickest fog of fear. Illyra looked at her, uncertainty swirling in her heart. "We are lost," she replied, her voice trembling. "We came here to be safe, but we don't know where to go." Zara's heart melted at the sight of the frightened mother and child. "You're safe with me," she assured them. "Come with me. I know a place where you can rest." She extended her hand, warm and inviting, contrasting the chilling rain that soaked the street. Kito hesitated at first, clutching his mother's hand tighter. Illyra could see the spark of hope in her son's eyes. After a moment, she nodded, accepting Zara's extended hand. With a shaky breath, she took it, feeling a strange warmth spread through her. "Follow me," Zara said, leading them down the street. As they walked, the sounds of the city buzzed around them, but she felt comfort in the connection they began to build. The three of them made their way through the neon-lit streets, vibrant advertisements lighting up the alleyways like a kaleidoscope. Zara led them to a cozy cafe on the corner, its windows steamy and inviting. "This is a safe place," she said, smiling. "I work here. Let's get you some dry clothes and something warm to drink." She opened the door and ushered them inside. The cafe was warm, filled with the sweet aroma of brewed coffee mixed with pastries. The soft amber lights gave it a homey feel, a stark contrast to the unsettling wetness outside. Inside, a few other patrons glanced at the unusual pair, but Zara quickly introduced them to everyone. "These are friends," she said confidently, filling them with a sense of belonging. Sitting at a small table, Illyra watched as Zara rushed to fetch towels and hot drinks. Kito looked around in awe, the bright colors and friendly faces pulling him from the shadows of fear. The warmth in the cafe surrounded them like a shield, pushing back the darkness they had felt just moments before. Illyra took a moment to breathe, finally allowing some of her worries to lift. It was clear that Zara had a gentle spirit. As she served the drinks, Zara returned to their table, placing a steaming cup in front of each of them. "Here you go," she said, her eyes sparkling. "This will help you feel better." Kito took a sip, his eyes lighting up. "This is yummy," he exclaimed, and Illyra smiled for the first time since they had arrived on Earth. It filled her heart with warmth to see her son happy. "Thank you, Zara," Illyra said softly, her voice full of gratitude. I didn't know if we would find anyone." Zara smiled, her heart swelling with compassion. "You're not alone anymore. You have friends now," she replied. In that moment, a bond began to form, stronger than the fear that had kept them apart. As they enjoyed their drinks, Zara learned more about Illyra and Kito. She listened as Illyra told her about their planet, their home, and why they had to leave. The darkness outside felt distant as laughter and warmth filled their small corner of the cafe. Hours passed in the blink of an eye, and the rain began to ease, turning into a gentle drizzle. Illyra noticed a change in the atmosphere, the city felt alive with possibilities. "I think I'd like to stay here," Illyra said, her voice steady. "Kito deserves a place where he can grow up safe." Zara beamed at her. Then we will find you a place. You can start anew here, just like I did. As the sky began to clear, the neon lights of the city glowed brighter than ever. The warmth of their newfound friendship shone like a beacon. Illyra, Kito, and Zara stood together, a young alien mother and child embraced in a world that once felt so large and frightening. In the heart of Neon City, they discovered hope amid despair, scripted in the glowing lights and the promises shared over warm drinks. Together, they would create a new story, one filled with friendship, safety, and love. The rain poured down in sheets, reflecting the neon glow of Xylo City's towering skyscrapers. A young woman with skin the color of jade stood shivering, her small child clinging to her leg. Both were drenched, their clothes plastered to their bodies. They looked out of place, their clothes unlike anything seen in the bustling city. The woman's large, dark eyes held a mixture of fear and desperation. Her child, no older than 4, whimpered softly, clutching a small, plush toy shaped like a three-legged creature. The city hummed with a symphony of unfamiliar sounds, the whirring of hover cars, the rhythmic pulse of energy conduits, and the low thrum of the city's advanced infrastructure. But to the young mother, Zillara, it was a cacophony of fear. She didn't understand the language, the customs, nothing. She and her child, Ki, had crash-landed their small escape pod hours ago, far from their own peaceful planet of Erelon. The crash had destroyed their communication device, leaving them stranded and alone. Ki snuggled closer to Zillara, his small body trembling. He pointed a tiny finger at a bright holographic advertisement showcasing a new line of cybernetic limbs. Zillara knelt, placing her hand gently on his head. His large, inquisitive eyes mirrored hers. Their predicament attracted attention. A group of Xylo City citizens, dressed in sleek, metallic clothing, stopped to stare. Their eyes, however, held no sympathy. Their expressions were a mix of indifference and suspicion. Some even pointed and whispered, their words sharp and harsh, alien to Zillara's ears. The fear in Zillara's eyes deepened. Just as despair threatened to consume her, a figure emerged from the crowd. It was a human woman, her face etched with concern. Her clothes were simple, a stark contrast to the futuristic attire of the Xylo citizens. She had kind eyes, a warm smile playing on her lips. She cautiously approached Zillara and Ki, her hands outstretched in a gesture of peace. The woman, whose name was Illyra, spoke slowly, choosing her words carefully. She didn't speak Zillara's language, but she knew a few basic universal phrases. She gestured towards the shelter of a nearby alleyway, offering a place of refuge from the downpour. Zillara hesitated. She'd been taught to fear humans, to believe the stories of their ruthlessness, but Illyra's gentle demeanor was disarming. The fear in Zillara's eyes slowly gave way to cautious curiosity. Illyra pulled out a small, warm packet of nutrient paste from her bag. She offered it to Ki, who looked at it with wide eyes. Zillara cautiously accepted it, her fingers brushing Illyra's. The warmth of Illyra's hand felt reassuring, a beacon of hope in their desperate situation. Ki cautiously took the paste, eating it slowly. Illyra smiled gently. She then used a translator device, a small, sleek device that clipped onto her ear, to speak with Zillara. The device translated her words into Zillara's native tongue, bridging the gap between their two worlds. It took some time, but they eventually managed to communicate. Zillara explained her predicament, the crash landing, the lost communication device, the fear of the unknown. Tears welled up in her eyes as she described the fear of being separated from her home. Illyra listened patiently, offering words of comfort. She understood their plight, she had worked with refugees from different parts of the galaxy for years. Her heart ached for the little family. Illyra contacted her colleague, Jax, a specialist in extraterrestrial communications. Jax, a tall man with a warm smile, arrived within minutes, his advanced technology humming quietly. He quickly scanned the wreckage of Zillara's escape pod, retrieving valuable information and locating a surviving emergency beacon. The beacon allowed them to contact Irulan, and news of Zillara and Key's survival soon reached their families. The relief felt across Irulan was immense. Meanwhile, Illara took Zillara and Key to her apartment, a small but comfortable space filled with the warmth of home-cooked meals and the gentle murmur of classic music. Illara's apartment was a far cry from the futuristic architecture and cold, hard steel of Xylo City. It was cozy, filled with plants, books, and the smell of freshly baked bread. The next few days were filled with a mixture of hope and anticipation. Zillara and Key enjoyed the comfort of Illara's home, experiencing a kindness they never thought they would find in such a foreign land. Key played with Illara's pet, a furry, four-legged creature he found fascinating. He even started to learn some basic Xylo's words, giggling at his own progress. Soon, a rescue ship arrived from Irulan, its powerful engines casting a warm glow on the rain-slicked streets of Xylo City. As Zillara and Key boarded the ship, they turned back to Illara, their eyes filled with gratitude. Illara's kindness had saved them, offering them a glimmer of hope in the darkest of times. The reunion with their family was joyful and tearful, a perfect end to their ordeal. Though they were leaving, a bond had been forged between these different beings, a testament to the simple power of human compassion in a complex and sometimes cold universe. The memory of Illara's warm hand, and her kind smile in the rain-soaked streets of Xylo City, would remain with Zillara and Key forever.